What's up, YouTubers? So before we get started with this video, on first take, they're going to be talking about DeAndre Hopkins' game-winning touchdown off a Hail Mary play with 2 seconds left. So let's see what they have to say about that.
What went through your mind when you saw that?
How could the Houston Texans let that man go?
Well, the first thing that went to my mind is that I fully understand why Bill O'Brien is no longer head coach in the National Football League. You had this man in Houston with Deshaun Watson, and you let him go. That's who you choose to let go. Clearly one of the best wide receivers in football, top 3 easy, might be number 1 or 2, and clearly some of the best hands we've ever seen at the wideout spot. And he's friends and obviously used to be at Clemson with Deshaun Watson. And this is the guy you let go. That's what jumped to my mind, Bill O'Brien. Obviously, it was an incredible play by DeAndre Hopkins. We saw him basically box out Micah Hyde. We saw him basically box him out. Tre'Davious White couldn't jump with him. And, of course, Poyer came flying in trying to bat down the ball. But it was all to no avail because D-Hop has hops. It's
Yep.
just that simple. He went up. He got the ball over 3 people. It was an incredible play on his part. It was an incredible play on the part of Kyler Murray, no doubt about that, scrambling out to the pocket to his left and juking the defensive lineman coming at him the way that he did. But in the end, jumping over 3 people. I like the analogy that he used, Ryan and Max, when he talked about basically dunking on somebody because he went over everybody and took the ball and brought it down and brought it in. But to answer the question again for one last time, the first thing that jumped to my mind when I saw how great that play was, the first thing that jumped to my mind is no wonder Bill O'Brien is no longer the head coach in Houston. How do you trade this man and take him away from Deshaun Watson? You deserve to be gone when you make that kind of error.
So I'm thinking Bill O'Brien should be banned from coaching any level of football. I mean, the NFL definitely not, college football definitely not, high school definitely not, and he can't mess with Pop Warner. I mean, that was one of the worst trades ever. Worst trades ever, getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins. And his first game with Arizona Cardinals, he showed why he was one of the number 1 wide receivers in the league. And any guy that goes one whole season without dropping any balls like he did, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago? You keep that man. You definitely keep that man. So Bill O'Brien does not deserve to be anywhere near football. So let's continue.
Stephen A., I am shocked and disappointed at you. You thought of Bill O'Brien first, you of all people, and not that bad man? You of all people didn't think of that bad man? That looked like Aaron Rodgers to me. Look, how many times has Aaron Rodgers done this, right? Maybe most famously against the Lions. You remember this play? You guys remember this play? Because this is what Kyler Murray looked like to me. They were down 23-21. There was no time left. Remember this? And then flicks it was 61 yards. And by the way, both ends
He
of
did
the
it
play.
against them and Arizona.
Well, that's coming up, Stephen A. Don't jump the gun. By the way, against Detroit, people forget he just made. I don't even remember with Detroit or Arizona. Here's the Arizona play. I think it was against Arizona. He just made the same play, and they called it back. I forgot what happened, and then he did it again.
That's right. He did do it again. I remember that. That was huge.
He did it again. And Aaron Rodgers is doing this, sometimes throwing to some good receivers. I mean, look at this. And by the way, Kyler Murray, like Aaron Rodgers, so good escaping the pressure. And then here against the Giants. And the thing about the Kyler Murray play that reminded me of the Aaron Rodgers play is not just escaping in the pocket and seemingly effortlessly, even more effortlessly than Rodgers, the way he flicked it, I felt, throwing that ball down the field to his receiver. But the fact that his receiver made that kind of play on the ball, like DeAndre Hopkins told you, everyone was in position. He's not taking credit away. So often you hear opponents take credit away from the other guy. That makes your play worse. Give the opponents credit. He was like, look, they were in position. There were 3 dudes just making his play more extraordinary, which...
It was all about who really wanted to get the rock. That's what it was about. And DeAndre Hopkins, with the super athlete that he is, with the super hands that he has, he wanted the ball more, and he got it in triple coverage.
Of course, the guy is known for his hands, but his positioning, his timing, the whole thing was so great. And this is why I was thinking of Aaron Rodgers, Stephen A. Aaron Rodgers has had some very good receivers. He has never had DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, never had that
Watson
dude.
had him. Kyler Murray now has him. So these Hail Mary type plays, those 50-50 balls, it's like more like a 60-40 or 70-30 ball at the end of games. NFL, look out, because Kyler Murray can do that. And DeAndre Hopkins has made a living catching that ball.
So Deshaun Watson's got to be, super mad right now after seeing that and knowing what he had in DeAndre Hopkins and what could have been. But instead of him, now it's Kyler Murray. They're going to be one of the best duos in the league, and it's a shame. I mean, it really is a shame for Deshaun Watson to not have one of the best receivers in the league anymore. I mean, he has to do everything. I mean, it just doesn't make any type of sense. And Kyler Murray, he's definitely going to take full advantage of what he has. And also, Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers had a DeAndre Hopkins, they'd be undefeated right now. So let's continue.
You know what? I had two thoughts. My first thought was Deshaun Watson. And I thought back to one of my favorite movies, and my favorite parts of a movie was Boys in the Hood. When Nia Long's sitting on the sofa and Cuba Gooding Jr. is mad. It's after everything happened to Ricky, and he's just punching the air like this. Because that's what I thought Deshaun Watson was probably doing watching the last 11 seconds of that game. He wasn't thinking about Bill O'Brien. He was at his house punching the air, upset that they traded that dude away. Now, the second thing I thought about, guys, was you two. I thought about Max Kellerman. I thought about Stephen A. Smith. Because I remember a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even a week ago, we were having this discussion. Oh, is it Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf? And then I think we brought up somebody else. Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. And I was like, hey, man, if we just not going on career achievements, you kind of got to start talking about Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. And then, Max, well, statistically, analytically, it's a sharper Warren, all that. Then, Stephen A., that is blasphemous. How you going to throw all them in there? And then I said, y'all got to watch these dudes and look what happens. Because here's what I want.
So, Ryan Clark, you didn't have some type of epiphany in thinking that DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray were going to be a good duo. I mean, everybody knew about that. It's just some people weren't talking about it. But everybody knows Kyler Murray's a baller and DeAndre Hopkins is a baller. So you didn't just come up with something new.
To think about. It wasn't that this was designed to go this way and he just escaped to the left because he was supposed to. No, he gets out to the left. He has a defender to beat. He hits him with a hesitation and he gets outside of the pocket. Then the other thing Kyler Murray has to do is turn his hips, get his hips turned around, kind of like a double play in baseball, and then get that ball thrown down to the end zone to give D-Hop a chance. One, there's maybe 4 quarterbacks that have the escapability, the athleticism to get outside of the pocket to their left that way. Maybe 2 or 3 that can actually get their hips turned and throw the football.
I don't know about that. I think there's more quarterbacks than that. So just off the top of my head, I would go with Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson. Who else is out there? There's a couple of different guys that could go out there and make that throw.
Those 2 or 3 people might not be the same people. And what we do know is there is no better contested football catcher in the game than DeAndre Hopkins. Do you know why he was so calm?
I don't agree with that either. DeAndre Hopkins isn't the only best catching after uncontested. So you have Julio Jones can do that. DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill, who was Michael Thomas, Antonio Brown when he gets back. So there's definitely other guys too.
To the game, why it was so easy for him to say that 3 dudes were in position and he dunked on them. You know why that was so easy? Because that's most of his catches. Most of his catches are contested. Most of the time he is covered. He is the most blanketed, uncoverable receiver that's ever lived. So that's nothing. If it
Whoa, you're going way too far with this, man. That he's not the best contested, unblanketed player or whatever he just said. I mean, there's a lot of wide receivers throughout the history of football that have been able to take care of business. I mean, let's just go just offhand of Jerry Rice. You have T.O. You got Randy Moss, Isaac Bruce, just off the top of my head. There's a couple of different guys out there that are straight ballers that you cover them and they're still not covered. So you're going a little bit way too far with this, Ryan Clark. And I don't mean to take anything away from DeAndre Hopkins, but there's other great receivers out there too.
his hands, he is going to catch it. So exactly what I told y'all when we were talking about the two best, that's doing it. They have to be in the conversation because they are different. They left the hospital with more than other people, and y'all got to see that.
Well, I appreciate. Listen, man, I usually defer to you when it comes.